Hello, everyone. Have you ever wondered how to become one flesh in your marriage, or what does two becoming one in a marriage look like? Well, we're going to be discussing this great topic today, along with our special guest, Pastor Dan and Lady D. And along with my husband, we're going to talk about this. I tell you, this couple here that we have on the platform with us tonight, this is a phenomenal couple that God is using all over the nation and internationally as well. And one thing I love about this couple, they have a great vibe. They have a heart for marriages. So we're going to discuss this tonight on two becoming one in marriage.
Amen. Well, welcome again to the broadcast, Living Out Love Marriage. As my wife said, we're Daryl and Betty Conley with our special guest, impacting the culture of marriage through unconditional love for one another from the Word of God. Yes. And so, hey guys, thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you.
I want to say we've enjoyed the entire day.
Oh my goodness.
Just doing ministry and really getting
great fellowship
together and connecting with one another. Yeah. And you guys are like us. You have a heart for helping couples to understand what it means and what it looked like for two to become one. Because oneness, I really believe, is the gateway to experiencing the glory of God.
Oh my goodness.
When we're operating in oneness, then that's when God will begin to cause us to have that marital blitz, that we all look for, that does not have to end over time.
That's good.
Sometime 5-10 years down the road, it's lost. But when we have that oneness, we can have that love everlasting. And so, guys, y'all talk to us a little bit. I know you're doing ministry, as my wife said. Talk to us and help us understand in our audience what this look like and how couples can have that in their relationship.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing us to. It's like we're in your living room, just having a talk, and everybody's visiting in with us, and we're so grateful for it. I guess the first thing that I want to say is Dee and I have been married a long time, and we're so grateful for that. And a lot of folks think that time is the answer to oneness, and it's just really not.
Oh, wow. That's good.
It's not. God is the answer. When you look at the statistics and the data, it'll tell you that a lot of folks will go and get a divorce within 7 years. That's why people talk about the 7-year itch. Another demarcation point is 3 years. So 3 years and 7 years. So we always ask folks when we're doing seminars and that kind of thing, how long have you been married? So we know we need to focus in a little bit. But then a lot of times, even Christians, what we'll do is we'll wait until the kids are out the house, and then we'll figure out that we don't even know each other.
Right.
And that's what the data says.
Yes.
The data says that there are about 2.3 million marriages a year and about 1.2 million divorces. So that says that there are over 50% of the people that get married to get divorced. That is an alarming statistic. Now, it used to be that was just how we say it in the world. We also see that was also in the church. Now, the last 3 to 5 years, that's changed.
The church gotten better
for the church.
For the church.
The world is still over 50%, but the church is under 50% divorce rate. And I believe it's because of things like this, what you're doing. What you're doing now, we didn't have that before. We had talk shows, intimate, real talk shows about real life stuff, especially in the church, about marriages and how to make them better. How do we become one? So we're doing more of that talking now. And God told us the answer. It's a mystery.
What's a mystery?
How the two shall become one. Well, we know the answer to that mystery.
It's a mystery. And as you said, Pastor, that's so good. You talked about the 3 and 7 year itch, so to say. If couples could ever really understand that you're giving up right at the time you're starting to blend. Because it's about a blending together. It's about the molding of each other's heart and minds. Because when we first met, we knew what we liked about each other. But then we didn't know what we loved about each other. And those things we have to learn over time. We have to learn. And once we learn those things, then we can now begin to develop a life that we desire because I know her. She know me. I know her ways. She know my ways. And when we start doing that, and even as you said in the church, now we can talk about this
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we realize I've been bleeding so long, I need
Wow.
help.
Good.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
talk about it, because
Yes.
before
Yeah.
we had church, we
Yeah.
did that good. We,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did the
Yeah.
word.
Yes.
I got the word. I don't need you
Right.
to tell me
Yeah.
nothing.
Right.
But we say a lot of people have the word, but they don't know how to apply it.
Right.
And
That's
so
right.
That's true.
the principles that even you guys
That's
are
good.
teaching, and we and other people that's doing it,
Right.
we're showing them how to apply the two become one principle.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yes.
know, and it's
Yes.
done by certain strategies,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
principles. You know,
Right.
you guys said something that was so powerful earlier as we were talking. That was the TD and R.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
TDR.
about the
Yes,
TDR.
great.
It's important that you hear my queen's voice.
Yes.
So
Talk
we're
to
going to
me.
invite her into the
Talk to
conversation.
me.
Well,
Yes,
no,
sir.
to God be the
Yeah.
glory. No, I just
Yes.
really am excited. And I do want to say it's something about transparency.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we have transparency and we're comfortable, I talk about a safe place
Yes.
to be emotionally, I guess, how can I say, just output,
Yeah,
the outwardness,
release.
to
Yes.
release, yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of things that are going on with us right now, we have a lot of pent up demand.
Right.
And because
Ooh,
we
that's
don't have
good.
the freedom to speak,
Yes.
so then we let things get, you know, I guess over time it starts to build and build and build,
Yes.
and to the point where we
Right.
get to just any little thing just
And
upsets
we
us.
don't have a history
Yeah.
of going to seek help.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
when we were growing
That's
up, that
good.
was taboo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they were just crazy folks if they got any type of mental help or emotional help.
Right.
Right.
We didn't go see psychiatrists,
We didn't.
psychologists, and that kind of thing.
Right.
We didn't take training. Most
Right.
folks got married, they might meet with the preacher one time,
Come on.
and we didn't do the training. We do premarital training now, with the data again shows that folks who get premarital training, not just 1 or 2 sessions, but training,
Yeah.
they kind of know what to expect, know what to look out for, know the
Yes.
Come
pitfalls,
on, that's good.
Exactly.
and they fare better.
That's
Their
right.
marriages just last longer.
That's
So that tells us, in all your getting, get understanding, get some training, get some.
Come on, that's good.
So
That's good.
that's why TDR
Yes.
is so important. Tell us what TDR is.
Yeah, TDR, the T represents trust.
That's it.
Yeah, it
Ooh,
stands for
that's powerful.
trust. That's what the
Yes.
T is. And then the D is disappointment.
Yeah. And we can stay there for a minute, because a lot of times
Yeah.
that's what marriages are. Let's say you meet somebody, boy, you're so trusting, you're so loving, and that things are going along so well. And all of a sudden, you get disappointed. They did something that didn't meet your expectation.
Right, right.
And that's when disappointment comes.
Come on, that's good.
But you say, okay, I'm gonna forgive them. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
You go back to trust, and you're
Yeah.
trusting
Right.
again, and you're in this cycle, because then they'll do it again. Now you're disappointed.
Yeah.
You get in that cycle of trust, disappointment. Eventually, what happens is you steal all of the trust away, because every time you disappoint them,
Come on.
you're stealing a little of that trust.
Yes.
You're
Come on.
stealing a little
That's
bit
good.
more. And all of a sudden, the thief gets to the point where he's stolen everything.
Right.
on.
Yeah, because there's no processing going on. There's no conversating in it.
Yes.
Because there's not, a lot of times, there's just not a safe place to do that.
And so now what happens is they don't even have to disappoint you, because you're waiting on them to do it again.
Right. See.
And so you're so resentful,
Wow. Yes.
you're so bitter.
Got this wall built up.
Well,
Yes.
That means that anger can happen at any time.
Anytime.
And anger, you know, is always, listen to my heart now, it's a secondary emotion.
It's the
Yes.
secondary.
So
Yes.
that means that there was
I
some
like that.
underlying that anger
Right.
that triggered it.
Right.
Well, if you've been disappointed so many times in your relationship, anything can trigger that anger.
And
Wow.
what we find, what will happen is, we want to turn away from that and decide, you know, let's just break this thing
Let's
off.
break it
It's,
off.
you know,
It ain't
you know,
working.
I'm emotionally bankrupt.
Right.
So then you go to another person.
Yes.
But
To for that longing and that yearning and that acceptance that you think you're needing,
Yes.
and you're taking yourself.
Yeah, that's the only thing
Yeah,
about people
that's
say, well, I'm going to
good. It is
leave
so
this
good.
relationship. And we'll always tell them, you got to be careful now, because wherever you go, you're going to take yourself
Yourself.
with you.
Yes.
And really, what you're
That's
doing
powerful.
is you're just changing the face
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the name,
Yeah.
but you,
But the issues don't go away.
Don't
they
go
don't
away.
go
The problem
away.
is
Until you
still
solve those
there.
issues, whatever those issues are,
Mhm.
they're going to go
They're
with
gonna
you.
be. Well, you guys, man, you said something so
That's
powerful
powerful,
there.
yes,
As
it
you
is.
talked about pent up
Yes.
demands.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you talked about that.
Yeah.
You talked about the trust when that taken away from every time you disappoint.
Yes.
And we know that that's the
That's good.
foundation to a relationship. Trust
It's
is
trust.
the foundation.
Yes. Oh my
Even the
goodness.
word says if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do?
Right.
What can we do? And that's
We
what
have
we
to
had to
stand
build.
Right.
We had to
Yes.
rebuild our trust, didn't we?
You have to rebuild your
Yes.
foundation.
Yes.
Rebuild our
Wow.
foundation
Right.
because it was like, once someone disappoints, it's almost like taking a jackhammer and tearing up that
Yeah.
foundation
Sure.
that you had
Right.
laid.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
baby, tell them a little bit about
Yeah.
the
How
trust, how
did
we
you?
would do that.
Yeah. How did you rebuild that trust?
First of all, what we had to do, what I had to do actually is, I had to allow God. First, I had to pray and ask God to help me be able to forgive this person, this man, and then that's when the healing took place. Then I was able to trust again. I had to actually trust God that He's in the midst of our marriage and He's gonna help us, help our marriage to get stronger in that area again, so that I can go ahead and start trusting Him. Because we have to realize that we have two personalities. We're trying to come together as one. We came up different background, different upbringings, different personalities. So
Right.
we had to blend those together. So
I'm a city boy, she's a country girl.
Sure.
I'm from the South, yeah, from the South. And so he's from the North. So we had to, we had to bring those personalities together so that we can walk in unity. But back to the trusting part, I had to lean and depend upon God. I had to start trusting God that what He said in His Word concerning our marriage, because marriage is an institution of God. So
Right.
if that's true, and I knew that was true, then I had to stand on everything that God said about our marriage, and apply it to our marriage in order for me to start walking out the being able to trust again.
Trust again.
Yes.
Well,
And let
you
me
just
say
said something because that was powerful. You said I had to forgive.
Yes.
Right.
So we're gonna go to the R, but you go ahead. You're
Let
about
me
to
say
say
this
something.
real quick, that to that trust and disappointment you talked
Yes.
about is I had to work on not continuing to disappoint her
Ah,
in building that trust.
Right.
See,
Right.
because I know I had broken it. So I had to start
Yeah.
doing what I needed to do to prove that I could be trusted.
Right.
And of course, because I broke it by lying, by not being where I said I was going to be.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and at that time we had pages, you
Yeah.
can tell how
Yeah,
long
that
that's
was
been.
a
We
long-
didn't-
that's a
we
real
didn't have
time,
cell
long
phones.
time.
It's been
so,
a minute.
So
Right.
yeah, it's been
Yes.
a minute. So you can imagine my word had to be, my truth. If I say I'm gonna be or do
Right.
something, I had to do
Right.
that.
Absolutely.
And so now, she can call, I can call and say I'm here or there. So to that, I had to work on not continuing to disappoint.
Disappointment. Yes.
And that's how we was rebuilding that trust. Go
Right.
ahead.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that for a second because it's so important. So there's trust, disappointment, we just talked about. And then you have to go to the R. The R is, then you have to redefine your relationship.
Right.
So R is redefining your relationship. And many times that's where the hard work is.
Okay.
I have to redefine my relationship. Just to listen to what you just talked about. You said, as we redefine our relationship, you said, I had to forgive.
Yes.
So the first thing you had to do was you had to deal with the relationship between you and God.
Come on, that's
Absolutely.
And it's
Because-
from the
Yes.
heart, by the way.
It's
One-
from the heart.
one- yeah,
Yes.
it's forgiving from the
Because
heart.
your
Yeah.
forgiveness
Mhm.
of your spouse
Yeah.
ain't got nothing to do with your spouse.
Come on.
That's right.
Right.
That's between you and
Yes,
God. You see,
yes.
God is the one that told us to forgive, and we're hindering something from God
Right. Yes.
when we don't forgive.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, folks think that they're not going to forgive somebody; it's going to hurt the other person. It really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
It's
it.
like we're drinking poison, waiting for the other person to die.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela
Yeah.
said
Yes.
that.
Oh,
He said-
praise God.
he said,
That's what Nelson Mandela
Unforgiveness
said.
is like drinking poison
Wait,
and waiting for someone
someone
else
else
to
to
die.
die.
we're the ones that'll die.
That's
Mhm.
true.
So as you redefine the relationship, you redefine it with God, and you said something too. You said I had to stop lying. I had to stop doing the things that I was doing. That's easier said than done sometimes. Some people have addictions and all different other things, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
But we have to go inward and process that together.
Yes. Right.
We have to say sometimes, honey, I have an addiction. Honey, I got a problem with lying.
Yes.
We have to deal with that.
Pastor.
Right.
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
as we're redefining our relationship, we got to understand that the person that I have right now, we see this beautiful queen, elegant. She's always had a certain spirit and loved the Lord. And I will tell you, she has changed. You say, how, Pastor Dan? Well, the girl that I met in college is not the girl that I eventually married. And the girl that I married is not the one that I took to Michigan, and we started our life together. The one that we started our life together, not the one, same girl that had our first child.
Right.
And then from our first child to our second child, she changed.
Yeah.
And then as we went to different businesses and bankruptcy and then growing and God just blessing us tremendously in terms of businesses and opportunities and ministry, she's continually changing. So if I'm looking at Miss D like she was when I met her when she was 18 or 19,
That's
Right.
good. That's good.
I'm looking at the wrong person.
Right. See,
She's not that person.
and neither are we.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Right.
good.
That means that we have to continually go back to who are we now?
Right.
And if you don't do that, what you're doing is you're robbing this new person
Come on. That's
of
good.
the wonderful
Yes.
love
Yeah.
and connection that we can have
Right.
with each other. So you're gonna allow that old person to
Right.
destroy
Right.
what's going on in the new.
That's
So,
right.
As we-
That's right. That's
And
right.
so now let's say that we have a new pattern now of saying, okay, if I'm disappointed, there's something that's going on. Honey, we need to do R. We need to stop and process this.
Process.
We need to redefine our relationship. Let's see what's going on.
Right.
And then we'll learn something. We say, wow, I didn't know that. We just did it after 38 years of marriage.
Yeah.
We went on a retreat, and my wife made the comment that I'm intimidated sometimes. And that was hard for me. After 38 years of marriage, and we've been training all over the
Right.
place and going to,
And you gonna ride.
and all of a sudden, I'm intimidated. Now that was hard for me to take, that hurt, because I thought that things were just glorious.
Right. Right.
you got this Cinderella thing going on.
But as we processed it,
Yes.
as we really processed it, and I thought about it with God, because I spent some time with God,
Right.
Yes.
what she was saying was true.
Okay.
I can be intimidating at times because God has wired me in such a way that I'm really a go-getter. I get it and I make it happen, and sometimes I'm aggressive.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to be intimidating to my queen
Right.
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 in any way.
And anyway.
So I have to slow down and do some things and seek God. Now He gave me the answer how to deal with it, but had I not listened to her,
Listen to it.
had
That's
we not so now, but what happened was when you redefine your relationship, I guarantee you this is what you're going to do. You're not going to go straight to trust.
Mm.
You're going to go back through disappointment.
Okay, that's
So
good.
trust, disappointment, redefine a relationship. Once you redefine your relationship, you're going to go back through disappointment. You say, why do I have to go back through disappointment?
Yeah, because you
Process,
you gotta sit with it.
See,
So
Right.
you gotta sit with the
Yes.
fact that it's
Okay.
been 38 years and now you're just hearing that.
That's
So
disappointing.
that's
Disappointing.
not
That is
gonna
so
just
good.
go
That's
away
good.
from your thoughts.
That's so
Right.
good.
Just
Now
so
I
much,
gotta
so you
do
gotta go
some
back
stuff.
through.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm disappointed with it because I didn't know I was there. Now I got to do these new things. And now, even as I'm doing these new things, they're not always acknowledged and appreciated.
Come on, man.
But as I do it and obedient to God, what happens is
good.
once you hit trust again, it's going to be deeper.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be.
And it will never,
That's
ever
good.
And it'll never ever
go
go
back.
back.
It
It'll
won't
never
go
ever go
back
back.
to
No, I
that.
mean you just
Yes.
if you keep that
Yeah.
model of
That's
knowing when to, carve that time out to say, oh wait a minute.
Let's process
We need
this.
to process
Mhm.
this.
Right.
Set that date and time and say this is when we're gonna talk about it.
Deeper.
And sometimes you'll need somebody else to help you process it,
And that's what we did. We
to
had-
make it a safe place, like you guys.
That's
Another trusted couple.
safety in the
Yes.
multitude.
Or-
of
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
a
Safety
mentor
is-
couple.
Yeah.
Safety in the multitude of counsel.
That's
That's
it.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, this is so well worth doing. And people say it's hard. It gets hard sometimes, like that was hard.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, I don't wake up every day talking about marriage is hard. Marriage is
Right.
glorious.
Yes, but it's so
Right.
worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
worth
so
it.
worth it
Yes.
when you get to that deeper level of trust.
Yeah.
But I think the
Yeah.
hardness of it that we say is because we're trying to learn, we're trying
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
And that's the part of, like you said, the woman I met 30 years ago, she's
That's
not
right.
the same.
Right.
It's like dealing with trying to deal with a child who have grown up. You know, you're trying to
Yes.
still
Yeah.
deal with
That's
the
exact-
immature
that's
person.
it.
Right.
And you said that'd be disappointing to me
Yeah.
that if my wife still treated me like the immature man that I was
Yes.
it.
Yes.
when she first met me, I might have been 25, but emotionally
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
mentally I was immature.
Sure.
And like I said, I didn't value what we have. I didn't
Right.
value covenant. I
That's
didn't
it.
value,
Mhm.
I didn't understand
That's
it.
it.
And because I didn't understand it, now we have all these disappointments. And I love what you said, that after you go from redefining back to disappointment,
Yes.
Gotta go back through
you
it.
go back to the
Wow.
trust,
Mhm.
and it's deeper.
Yes, it's a deeper.
The trust is deeper because
Right.
now it's coming from a place where I'm no longer I can no longer be disappointing.
Yes, yes.
You know, we have them because we're human.
Right.
But I'm coming from a whole different place.
Yes.
Before,
A different place.
we trying to trust each other
Yes.
and understanding and growing and
That's
learning
good.
each other.
Yes, yes.
Now we kind of know each other to where now she trusts me on a whole different level.
Oh, yeah.
I trust her
Right.
on a whole different
Oh, yeah.
level.
Oh, yes,
you know.
yes,
So
yes.
Talk about that, baby, in a few
Yes.
minutes that we still have. You have anything
On
you
the
want to add?
trusting part,
Or whatever.
I believe what everybody has said is so powerful. And if you're out there and listening to
Yes.
this broadcast and you're in this position, we just want to just share some of the things that you can apply to your area in marriage that you may be
Yes.
struggling with, because these sessions here is so vital
Yeah.
to where we want to be able to reach and go into your homes and
Yes.
let you feel safe by coming into our homes
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
hear from couples such as us who have gone through these
That's what I was
things.
gonna
Because
say.
when
We've
you
gone
begin
through
to, when you're talking about blending, coming together, two becoming one, in order to be unified, so that we can experience the blessing, the commanded blessing that God talks about in His Word, then we're gonna have to go through some things, and learning to trust again. Sometimes that can be, you cannot do it without prayer. Number one, you can't do it without trusting God. You got to trust God with your marriage. You got to give your marriage to God, and let Him
That's good.
be able to come into the middle of your marriage, come in the
Yeah.
center of it, and being led by God's word and learning how to trust again. We have to forgive. I had to
That's
forgive
it.
myself, number one, and then forgive my spouse.
Right.
And so once we do
I
that,
had to
then that's
forgive
when
myself.
we begin to
Yes.
exactly. That's when we begin to get stronger together
Right.
and becoming one, because we have taken it to God. We have prayed about it, and God deals with our hearts,
That's good.
deal with our spirits, and in prayer He start bringing us together,
Yes.
because
yes.
we'll kneel to Him. We say, God, we love each other,
Right.
and God, we can't do this thing. We can't make this marriage work without you being in the center of it.
Right.
And then once we bring God in the midst, and that's when the healing took place. And that's when
good.
it was so easy to trust, because I've already taken it to God.
You're taking
That's
it,
it.
and
Yeah.
you're
See, that's
trusting.
the answer.
Yeah.
Can I say? And really, what the trust, it shifts from trusting man.
Right.
Mhm.
Trusting
To
God.
trusting God.
You see, when she
Yes.
said that I was
Yes.
intimidating, I had to go to God.
Mm-hmm.
And God told me to do what I always do when I'm studying. First, what's the definition of intimidation? What's fear? It's fearful.
Yeah.
Well, what's the answer, God? He took me to the Word, just like He told you to forgive.
Yes.
He told me to be slow to speak,
Mm-hmm.
quick to listen,
Right.
and slow to become angry.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's in the book of James, chapter 1.
Yes.
Right.
And from that point,
Mm-hmm.
I've been quick to listen.
Right.
That's good.
And I
Yes,
want to
so to
say
speak.
that, that prayer is not preparation for the battle, but
Mhm.
prayer
Yes.
is where the battle is
Battle
won.
is
So
won.
that is
Come on.
it. That
Absolutely.
is the
That's powerful.
foundation.
That's
Yes.
good.
It
Prayer.
has to be.
Mhm.
Prayer.
Yes.
And then God will give us a word.
Yes.
See, the word feeds us and sustains us. And the word became flesh and dwelt
Right.
among us.
Right.
Well, when He gave you that word of forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
it became who you are.
That's
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's
What
why
you
there was
would do.
healing,
Right.
because you were obedient to His
Right.
word.
Right.
Right. And I want to say this too. In prayer is where we become free from
Oh, my
ourselves.
goodness.
All right. That's
I,
good.
and that was
Yes.
and that was a
That's
good.
that happened to me just recently.
That's
And so
good.
why I could express that because I became free of of myself, of who I am,
Right.
and
Yes.
having control and
Oh, that's
wondering the
good.
what ifs. What if I
Right.
did this?
Yes.
And what if I did that? What would happen?
Mhm.
But when we go into prayer like that,
Mm-mm.
then He gives us the confidence,
Oh, yes,
the
He
blessed
will.
assurance
Yes.
to know that girl, I got
Yes.
you back.
That's it.
You gonna be
Yeah.
fine.
'Cause
Speak
it's
the
hard
truth
to
in
forgive.
love.
It's
Yeah.
all-
Yeah.
it-
Yeah.
Oh, in love.
Yes.
That's
My
it.
God.
But it's
Amen.
important to
Amen.
forgive if we want to remain with what we have, if we want to
Oh, yeah.
see what God has for us,
Right,
experience what
right,
God
yes.
promised us in the marriage covenant, you know, and this is why we're talking about this subject, guys, about becoming one, because
Yes.
unity and being one
Ooh,
with
yes.
your spouse
Mm-hmm.
is the anchor that will
It's
help you
glorious.
to steady you in the storms.
Yes,
You know, the
oh
Bible
my.
said that the storm's gonna
Yes.
come, and when the wind, the rain come, if you build on a solid foundation,
Yes.
you'll be able to
Yes.
handle the storms. But if you build on sand, something that's not stable, which apart from the word of God, we feel you will not be able to stand.
Yes.
But when you have that togetherness in your relationship, it will sustain you through the storms,
Yes.
and it's the anchor that will help you for the long haul.
That's
you know,
right, that's
because
right.
we want this to last. I didn't marry her to give her up.
Amen.
Right, that's it.
I told you all the night I
Yes.
met her, I told her she's gonna be my wife.
Right.
So I knew that I wanted her to be in my life, and I wanted to be in her
Right.
life.
Yes.
And
Good.
of course, we're running out of time. I'll tell you all the other things.
I know,
I'll
that's
talk about.
right.
Glory to
My
God.
brother ain't no back door.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Well, hey, we trust and pray that you were
Yes.
blessed by this
Absolutely.
broadcast on today. And we encourage you to continue to seek the wisdom of God,
Yes.
counseling. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. You can write us at livingoutlove@gmail.com. We would love to hear your comments, any responses, hey, and even topics that you may like for us to discuss where we can help you, because you're looking at 38 years and 35 years.
Yes.
So, hey, nearly 70, 80 some years of knowledge, experience
Yes.
that we'll be able to impart in your life. Hey, but until next week, remember to live out love
Every day.
God bless you. That was beautiful.